man. Beautiful. So short and sweet. Wow, it took me on like a little trip in and out. I dig it. That's beautiful. I assume an original of yours. Yeah, really nice. I like how you took the listener on a bit of a journey. It didn't feel like I necessarily knew what was coming. Like pretty quickly, I realized that I could sort of let go of the steering wheel of expectation and just some of the harmonic land points and things like that. I think offer some really some really nice, interesting stuff in there. So I would love to have heard. I know it's short and sweet, and I always dig that. I'm in the words of Barry Harris, "Leave them wanting," is one of the tenets. So you did that, but I also would be curious, kind of what comes next. Like maybe you've thought of that already. Kind of what if there's a solo platform you would use, or if you would vamp on a certain section. And maybe you have an answer for that right away. But the other question that I have for you is if what you want to talk about right now is just dealing kind of with composition, is to ask you what your goals and aspirations might be for this song. Like what you would be thinking about to make this even better, or maybe even get after what you intended when you sat down to write it, or if there's something that you think needs editing. I'd be curious to hear from you, sort of before we go into anything, where you're at, because with composition there's a universe of possibilities for everything that this tune is. There's a million things it isn't that we could talk about as well. So solo form, and what are your thoughts and goals for this one?
Right. Yeah, there's a solo form. There's kind of that interlude we only play that once before we go into the solos, kind of as a transition, and then the solo is over the form, and then we come back onto the bridge, and then on the head out there's a key change at the very end. So I can kind of play that right now. So the song starts in D major. We kind of end up in A flat major at the end.
Nice.
Restate that melody, and then end on that same transition, that kind of interlude, that's just a little vamp at the end, just kind of, so the piece can vanish into thin air with a little bit of,
Nice.
Right.
Can for the solos, have you been that just those two chords, that vamp, that's kind of been your solo platform? That's
the solos over the head changes.
Okay, I see.
So that's only played. It's kind of like a sprinkle of like surprise in there. It's kind of a rare thing. But the solo will kind of follow the same journey as the changes. Kind of, going back to your second question, I kind of wanted to write a song that plays itself in a way. I didn't want the solos to get super loud or super intense. They could just kind of telling the story of what the changes are and the character of the tune. And I was feeling the character of the tune is bittersweet, maybe, kind of imagine someone who cares about another person, just like kind of daydreaming about that other person, but they're not with them. So it's trying to draw that juxtaposition of, caring about somebody, but also like having it sting a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, like a bit of a crush song.
Sure. Yeah.
Crushing on somebody. Yeah, that's it, man. I love when we start to think about more than just the notes and the theory of what's happening, but also the expression behind the theory. You know, sort of the intention that you're trying to convey in this. So I'm awesome. You know, that's great that you're thinking about that. Um, Maybe then, if the question of how to improve this, if that's what you're looking to do, it could be that you want to, you know, close this, turn this page and start on a new thing, which is totally cool. You should do that as well. But if you were trying to get after this song even further, maybe it would be a question of how much am I capturing? How thoroughly am I capturing this bittersweet thing that I'm trying to get after? You know, is it too much sweet, or is there not enough bitter in it? You know what I'm saying? And what does that translate to you musically? You know, it could be uh, that you're in search of a certain harmonic place with that's kind of what comes to mind for me. It could also be a melody, seeing if you can create some kind of a melody that feels unresolved, I suppose you could say. I mean, it's this is starting to get into uh, a territory that's not as detailed in terms of what I could offer you. You know, oh, just go to F major and you got it. That's the bittersweet land, right? I mean, that's it's going to be somewhat personal, but I think we have to be kind of honest with ourselves in terms of if we're if we've accomplished what we have set out to do with the song, and if it is coming from a place that's outside of music technical terms, then that starts to get a bit of a gray area. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that kind of only you can answer. The other thing that I would recommend, which you already know, I mean, you know, kind of what I think about things, but if there is, if the answer to that question is a bit elusive and you can't maybe see clearly what that might mean for yourself, then maybe the question might be, are there examples of other musicians, of other songs that I like that do capture this bittersweet feeling that I'm after, right? And then putting your feet into those shoes and kind of picking apart what's happening there and seeing if any of that translates. So like I said, I know you've kind of heard me talk about these things before, and what my philosophy on stuff is. So it really is kind of on you to take this and run with it. I wish I had more to say, but on this song, it does kind of feel like you've sort of completed it in a certain way. Is that sound right to you, or?
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay. Yeah. So again, if there's anything specific on this one that you wanna ask me about, I'm happy to answer. The other thing for my ears, if you wanted to be even more sort of, I don't know if the word is scrupulous or just like really kind of nitty gritty about what it is you have, maybe breaking down every element of what you've presented, and really taking a close look at it could be a thing. Like, I think there's a theme, a melodic theme in that song that very clearly uh, comes back and is developed, right? And then there's kind of another thing. Maybe it's that sort of Charleston rhythm you have, bum bum or ba da ding. Um, so maybe looking at those two and saying like, are these, do these relate, or could they relate more, or you know, is there another response to this theme besides ba da ding? Do I, or do I feel the need for that? Is this really, does ba da da really, like, that's for me, that's the tune, like that feels so good to me that I don't want to mess with it. It's worth a shot. It could also be that ba da ding is actually more of the character of the song, and maybe your theme that leads up to that could change. You see what I'm saying? It's just taking every element of what you've actually presented and being really kind of um, a harsh judge, so to speak, to say like, is this do they really go together, or is this just kind of something I threw in there? And again, you don't have to answer that now. That's something for you to kind of just to be in that mindset when you're kind of in edit mode. I think could be helpful, could be healthy.
For sure, yeah. Thank you. That yeah, I didn't ever think of it like that. I kind of just it was something I just wrote like in a very short amount of time when I don't know, felt inspired by something I'd seen, and it was just like a show that I was watching just had that kind of feeling to it, and then I just sat down and put it together, but I had never like really analyzed it like that to that degree. So yeah, definitely that's super valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I just these are all sort of ideas, and I like when we're getting analytical and we think about that, but I also like your analysis to be rooted in what you were talking about before, in sort of like what feeling you're trying to get after, and sometimes the feeling is enough, sometimes this, like you said, just makes you feel a certain way. I was watching a TV show, whatever, and this speaks to that, and that's fine. I just think that there it's always worth being thorough about those decisions, in investigating those decisions. So um, analysis, yes, but also whatever kind of soulful, mystical version of analysis works for you on that. I encourage that. you.